almost all activities like the language week, and this is the culmination of the interims, intramurals for 3 days where they divided into teams again, trying to get enough points to be the winner. But they always have a Mr. and Ms. contest. So the students were divided by the theology team, the education team, and then the deaconesses and the computer science went together. The winners was Mr. Interims there in the middle is education student, and the Miss Interims is a deaconess student. Graduation is for college students and for our kindergarten students. They have graduation also. Now I would like to share with you personal stories of 4 different students that are different categories of our students at SPMC. When I got there in 2007, I had been there from 99 to 2002. Then I was in Nepal until 2000 through 2006, and I went back in 2007. We were wanting to promote the college, and one way we thought to promote it is to offer academic scholarships. So, which I said doesn't cost any extra to put one more student in a class. So we could put, an extra student in the class, not going to cost us anything. So the scholarship committee agreed so that if you a valedictorian or a salutatorian, you can come to SPMC and get free tuition, free fees, free board, and free lodging. JP was our first one who entered in 2007. JP comes from a large family. He has 5 sisters and 2 brothers. He's the youngest. He was a menopausal baby. His parents were over 50 when he was born. As he grew up, he was a Methodist, attended the Methodist church, and later his father was accused of a crime that JP said he didn't do. But because of that, they lost their farm. JP had to work as a sugarcane laborer during high school just to get enough money to get through high school. And he graduated as valedictorian with basically no chance for college because other colleges would give them free tuition. But that didn't help JP because they had no money, absolutely no money that they could give him. And our dean of theology went around recruiting students and went to his church that was, I might liken it to preemption because I had trouble finding you back out there somewhere, and that's where JP was, way back out there somewhere. And our dean went and found him and said, well, JP, you can come to SPMC and not have to pay anything. So JP came with absolutely no money in his pocket. Now, most of you can figure out if you're going to college, if your tuition is paid, your fees are paid, you get food, and you get your lodging, there's other things you have to have. And JP had no money, so we arranged for him to have an allowance. So he was our first full scholar. He has to maintain his grade point average, otherwise he doesn't keep the scholarship. And he has maintained it for 3 years. I'm very proud of JP. I think JP is not only academically gifted, he's a wonderful young Christian man, gets along well with others, was Mr. Interims last year, and he's just a nice young man. But he shows you his category is those students that would have no chance of coming to school without a scholarship. We now have advertised our academic scholarships so that this year we had 15 coming in on academic scholars, some full scholars, some part scholarships if they're honor students. So as the acting president, I'm a little concerned now because we could put 1 extra student in a class without costing anything, but 15 makes it difficult. So we have had to discuss about it, and we're trying to raise more scholarships for our students here and from the States, but also from our own people in the Philippines. That's one category of student. Joey, and I thought for sure I had a full face one of Joey, but I couldn't find it. So he's the young man over here on the left, standing looking there. I know you can't see him very good. He's our theology student. Now, theology students get high priority as far as scholarships because that's one of our main purposes at SPMC is to train our pastors, our local pastors. Joey came to us. He is 22 years old right now. He said he's the youngest of 5 children, and he admits he was spoiled as a child. He was very active in the United Methodist Church, and at grade 5, he wanted to attend a young people's activity retreat at a different church, but they didn't have any money. I mean, I've heard that so many times over there, but it's true. They just don't have the money. And so he ended up finding a way to get the money to go to this retreat. And during that retreat was when he felt called to be in the ministry. But when he got into high school, he got with the wrong crowd, and he started gambling and started drinking and did not go to church. So when he graduated from high school, he went on to college, but he failed several of his classes because he was drinking, he was gambling, and he was also texting all the time. Do you text all the time? Philippines did it. Filipino people did it long before you guys did. They're one of the most sophisticated countries in the world with their texting. In 2007, the average was they sent 1 billion text messages per day for the whole country. No. Yes. Uh-huh. So he was hooked on texting and would put 100 pesos per day. That means 100 text messages because it only costs 1 peso per day. That's why they text. It doesn't cost that much. And so he failed class, so he dropped out of college. He had a brother that was a pastor, and he visited his brother once in a while, but he didn't go back to church. He was at his aunt and uncle's house when a pastor came to their local church and talked to his parents about getting Joey to come back to church and come to SPMC. And the pastor offered him a scholarship, so he came. And he had a hard time when he first came because he did not have food service, and he was eating once a day until we found out. But it took us a while because he went through exams that way for a while, only eating once a day. And he got very discouraged and was going to give up. But we encouraged him. We got him on food service now. The pastor who was going to support him withdrew his scholarship, so we had to find a scholarship for him. But his local church is paying for his lodging. So his first sermon at our chapel one day was renewal of the calling. Our next one is Zian, which is a deaconess student. She represents children of 11 million of the people in the Philippines. There are 11 million overseas workers. Zian's mother left her when she was young to work overseas because you can get money and then you send it back home. There are many, many, like I said, 11 million out of the 92 million of the population. She was you can see she's very happy now. She was a happy young lady, a happy girl until her mother left. And then she felt totally lost and alone. And during the years that her mother was gone, her cousin came to visit and ended up raping her. So she represents 2 groups. The group that parents leave to work overseas and those that have been raped, because we've had other girls there. But her mother did come back. Her mother was able to talk to her, to show her their love for her, and she has turned herself around, and she's going to serve the church as a deaconess. She says she wants to, quote, serve our loving Almighty God with all of my heart, mind, strength, and soul.